So think back to your childhood. What were some of your favorite toys that you used to play with? G.I. Joes, superheroes, Star Wars, Barbies? Well, today's episode is going to take a look at one of the most popular toys in the last 40 years. Those robots in disguise known as Transformers.
Transformers! Yeah.
Starting in the 80s, the Transformers robots were created as toys that eventually went on to spawn a variety of TV shows, films, and even theme park attractions. And so today we are going to explore what Transformers as a franchise has brought into the world by looking at their 1986 animated film. And as we dive into the Transformers lore, we'll be able to wrestle with questions regarding the use of technology, robotics, and the place of all of those things in the world. Oh, who am I kidding? This is just about robots.
Joe's face, like, I guess. Okay. Joe's not even going this deep. I want to know what science was present in this movie.
They had to lose weight because they were in space.
If you like robots that smash things, stick around. Welcome to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, where we analyze stories and films that help us make sense of life. We are four friends with backgrounds in storytelling, filmmaking, teaching, and narrative therapy. Join us on our quest towards telling and living our stories more meaningfully. I'm Derek Hatch.
My name is Nick Natal.
Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph Wilson.
I'm Jason Lin.
We are on our retreat right now, and each of us has picked a film to watch that we don't know what the other's going to pick. We're literally closing our eyes as the person is putting the disc into the Blu-ray player.
That was fun.
And whatever comes on is what we're doing an episode on. So this is Joseph's pick. And so a lot of people who know you really well probably go, of course, Joseph picked Transformers.
Yeah.
But for our audience here, can you take a moment to oblige us and tell us why? Oblige us.
Honestly, my first interaction with Transformers was 2007 with the Michael Bay movies.
Really?
I didn't see this movie until maybe 2010. That's when I first started getting into Transformers, with 2007.
You're kidding.
Were you 12?
No, I think it was around like 13 around that time.
Mm-hmm.
My first love of collecting with things were dinosaurs, but I evolved into Transformers.
Well, there's dinosaur Transformers. So
yeah,
those must be your favorite.
Oh, no, I love the Dinobots. I want a whole bunch of Grimlocks. I have the version of this one in the movie we just saw, and then I have the Transformers Age of Extinction one. That's the upscaled one.
Oh yeah, because that's the live action movie that brought in the dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, but they're only in it for like 5 minutes. The movies do not do Transformers justice. I love the movies. You know, I've seen those things that got me introduced to Transformers, but the cartoons is where it's at. Like, honestly.
Well, I think the first shocking thing I realized when we started watching it is like majority of it, the film and the story is set in space.
Yeah.
And I feel like the live action ones are a lot more grounded on Earth, right?
The only connection in the shows that Earth, or like why Earth is so significant, is because of all the resources that Earth has. It can be turned into Energon, which is the things that the Transformers need to survive. There's not a whole bunch of artifacts on it. They're kind of, but like they're not. Earth is not integral to Cybertron as the movies make it.
Like in the second movie, we're gonna find out. Okay.
Is this the first Transformers movie?
Yes.
This is the first episode?
No, it's the show, and then they made like a
How many
live-action
episodes
movie.
before the show, before the movie?
I think like 26 episodes is around that. So
Decent chunk.
Yeah, but again, the show is a kid's show, so it's like, oh yeah, we're blasting each other, and then I'll see you next time, Prime. But then we get into this movie. It's like Autobots and Decepticons are dying, and like kids literally were like crying and running to their like rooms when Optimus Prime died.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a tragic time.
And then the dad says a cuss word.
Yeah, and then the dad says a cuss word, and
there were a
Ultra
couple
Magnus
of
said a
cuss words in
word.
this.
Yeah, parents were kind of upset during that too. So
Yeah,
it's cool to see how this movie like introduced a whole lot of stuff.
They went gritty.
Yeah.
For the time.
Yeah.
The 80s
That's
as a
funny.
whole was really pushing children's entertainment. I still think like some of the darkest stuff for kids ever came out of the 80s.
Yeah.
They really thought kids could handle more than today.
I mean, we could. And now.
When did Watership Down come out?
That's probably like 80.
That's 79?
Let me see.
78?
We have the DVD.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
right
but
on the
it-
cusp.
Yeah,
of
but
it.
we got to move. Yeah.
We can't do that.
Technology.
So-
Let's see. Yeah, 78 then.
Okay.
That's close.
All right. So Watership Down ushered in the 80s era. All right. So I'm going to read the letterbox real quick and then we'll hop into this. Beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination, the Autobots must stop a colossal planet-consuming robot who goes after the Autobot matrix of leadership. At the same time, they must defend themselves against an all-out attack from the Decepticons. Okay, so
Welcome, Megatron.
I can imagine after seeing 26 episodes, this must be pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of us who did not sit through 26 episodes,
I
We-
have no idea
we
what's
need your
happening
help.
or who
we
it's happening
need your
to.
help.
Okay, so it's funny enough that still the 26 episodes do not explain anything about this movie. So,
What?
But
so
they explain the characters. Like,
Yes.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
okay,
So,
but
we would have like
let's-
gotten attached to these characters.
Yeah, you would have gotten attached to like the main Autobot crew, like
Uh-huh.
Optimus, Ironhide, that got shot up in the beginning. So a lot of the characters that died
Uh-huh.
are the ones that you would have grown up, which would have been a shock. Oh my gosh, the ones we saw in this movie
Yeah.
are new characters, and the only reason why they did it was to make new
This
toys.
is like the Infinity Wars.
Yes, mhm.
Of the Transformers.
Literally.
Is Springer new?
All the Transformers that are first introduced in this are Ultra Magnus, Hot Rod, Springer, Blur, RC, Cup, and
Wait, his
All the
name's
ones that make
Cup?
yeah, all the ones that make it. So literally all
Wow.
the ones that are the main characters in this story, Blaster,
Uh-huh.
Perceptor, like the Dinobots were in the show. So Derek, you want us to know the Dinobots were created
Yes.
by the Autobot scientist Wheeljack.
Okay, so can we back up for a
Yes,
moment?
yes,
okay.
yes.
who died
So-
off screen.
Yeah, who died off screen.
Okay, so why were other than to sell toys,
Mhm.
why in the Transformers lore, why were they created in the first place?
It is-
So in this lore, because there's different continuities, in this lore, the ones that the tentacle-looking creatures I was saying they're innocent with the 5 faces,
Yes.
they created the Transformers as a workforce. And
Okay.
so they were just like if we had androids right now, but they became self-aware and they revolted against the Quintessons. Then
So it's like an AI kind of thing?
pretty much. But then
Okay.
after that, they started having separation of classes to where there's worker ones and then like high council thinker ones.
Uh-huh.
So that's where Megatron came from. Megatron came from a worker class. And
Okay.
Optimus was a librarian named Orion Pax. And so they were cool with each other, but their ideas of seeing the corruption would just let them astray. Like how Koba and Caesar are.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
grew
okay.
together as brothers, but their trauma or well
So like Professor X and
Magneto.
Magneto, yeah.
Their idea of freedom is different. Megatron
Yeah.
peace through tyranny, and Optimus freedom through peace through freedom. So
Yeah.
that is why the war happened, and it happened for like millions of years.
So this is happening like
Millions of years.
out there
Yeah.
somewhere in the universe.
Yes.
This is happening.
Yeah.
Now, how does it get to Earth? Because
Mu-
there's humans in this.
Don't
Yes.
the,
They
don't,
don't-
the Autobots escape to Earth?
So in the climax of the war, all energon on Cybertron is depleted. So you see Cybertron is active now, but in the beginning of the show, Cybertron's energon is depleted. So
Uh-huh.
they have to go off-world to find more resources to make energon. The
Uh-huh.
Autobots and the Decepticons follow the Autobots. They land on Earth, and then they're in stasis, which means they're in a coma for again millions of more years.
Uh-huh.
Until they're awoken by construction workers like humans, and then they're awoken and they get their human vehicles and stuff like that. And then the show goes on from there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Starscream had the best voice.
Agreed.
Fun fact: Orson Welles, the voice of Unicron.
hmm
Mhm.
That was a shocker.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Definitely a fun surprise. The best shapeshift, turning into the gun and falling right into the other Transformer's hand, and he shoots it in the beginning.
Megatron into Starscream's hand. Yeah.
Analyze that a little bit further.
So Megatron transforms into a handgun, and he transforms into Starscream's hand to be used to kill an Autobot.
That's so.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, but it was awesome to see. And I thought the Transformers can only transform into cars, but that was also a pleasant
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
Best kill: Megatron killing Ironhide from the
ground,
the ground up. I don't know.
Such heroic
And he was just
nonsense.
like, and then other notes, Unicron looks like the wheel from Mad Max.
Still love that. Oh
I'm
man.
trying to think of others, but that's what I wrote
See,
after the movie.
I think Starscream was the funnest character
Yep.
for me.
Yeah.
Starscream is my favorite character.
When he got killed off. You know what's funny is
Hard.
he wore
Yes.
when he put the crown on and had the cape, he kind of reminded me of your wedding.
Yep.
Was that what you were going for?
No, Vegeta more, but
It
Starscream.
fits.
Yeah, Starscream has inspired me.
Okay.
while I was young too.
You're almost wearing Starscream's colors right now. You
With
got the red,
Yeah.
the gray.
You know, this movie really helped me understand your stop motion work a little better.
Mm.
Because I feel like this movie is high
Energy,
paced
yeah.
energy. You actually have more breathing room in your films than this.
There is no
Yeah.
rest.
There is no
It's just
rest.
Which is like the movies in real life.
Yeah.
That was, they captured that accurately.
But it still keeps your attention. It's still like, oh man, I'm tired, but that was pretty fun.
Yeah, because I'm getting beat over the head. I'm like, there's no rest.
I don't know. I still think my favorite kill is when Galvatron comes back, which is Megatron transformed, and Galvatron just comes back and immediately disintegrates Starscream.
Yeah.
As he's getting
that was a
coordinated.
good kill.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because
That was
again,
really
the
good kill.
running gag in the entire show in the first season, like
Yeah.
every episode, Starscream's like, "I'm gonna try to betray you," and betrays him. Megatron's like, "Stop that! You're an idiot,"
Yeah.
and never does anything about it. And now it's like, "All right, now I really get to kill you." And so
That's
Yeah.
when his head kind of just
Disintegrates.
Yeah,
that
well,
was a
I
good
mean,
one.
Starscream punts Megatron's dying body out of
Yeah.
the spaceship.
Also, tie for the best moment. That one and when Unicron slapped the planet.
Yes.
For me, that was fun.
Straight
I
up.
thought it was gonna fully explode, but he just slapped it.
Straight up slap.
So in the lore with Cybertron can also transform. So
Well,
where-
he didn't.
I know. So where the Matrix came from, that is the spark or the heart of Cybertron. Cybertron and Unicron or Primus were at odds against each other. So it's like literally a good versus evil. The only way Primus was able to to rebel Unicron was to put his energy into the Matrix.
Uh-huh.
And that's why he's a planet now, and that's why he doesn't transform, because again, he's in like a coma. He's in stasis.
Okay.
So that's why the planet has little Transformers, because they came from Cybertron. Little
Those are
lore
his
for you guys.
babies.
Yeah, those are his babies.
Yeah.
They evolved from Primus, pretty much.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's why all that fits, and that's why Unicron is like, that's the only thing that can destroy me.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have told Galvatron that. He's like, oh, bet I'm going to use it then.
Well, then he's like, I accept your terms.
Oh, yeah, guy.
Yeah.
That mind control on him.
Unicron was just blasting his thoughts into Galvatron / Megatron's head. Just torque.
And it's not unicorn, it's Unicron. For those,
I thought it was
unicorn.
unicorn when I
Mhm.
first, and I thought Orson Welles plays a unicorn in this. I'm in.
So Unicron is this planet-sized being that eats other planets.
Yeah.
Derek,
like
how did you
Galactus.
Galactus basically for Transformers? Derek, how did you feel when you just saw him transform
For the first time,
for
yeah.
the first time?
I was like, oh snap, it's about to go down. That's it. That's what I thought. I was just like,
You were excited.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah. There were things that get you excited when you're watching this.
I still want to get the figure of that. So, like, for the audience, I do have a.
So there's a
good
figure of
collection.
him as the planet.
As a
and
planet,
then
he
you
can
could transform
And
him.
it's
into-
That's
huge.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like-
enormous.
It's like a
It's $600
$300. Oh, I was gonna
It's
say, yeah.
$600.
And you own it?
Wow.
I don't own it. I
Oh,
want.
wow.
I want to get it. So Nancy,
Or our
Just
reader,
allow
or
it.
our listeners.
yeah, go
Yeah,
fund
you
me
wanna
for
sponsor-
for
anyone
Joey
wants to
Unicron.
sponsor
Taking
Joe.
donations.
I can tell you the exact Unicron. Let me stop.
Yeah. So Joe, who's your personal favorite character? Is it Super Scream or
Starscream.
Starscream.
Super
Hey, host of the podcast, Starscream.
Come on,
Starscream,
it's
sorry.
Starscream.
Why did I say
Super Scream. That's like an ice cream flavor.
Okay, you know what's funny? His first kind of name was Sparkly Princess. Like that's what their thought was for
You're
this character.
lying.
I'm not lying. It's something like that.
He just
but
got
it's
even
like that.
better.
That's something Megatron would call.
Okay, you Sparkly Princess.
Yeah.
He just got even better.
It's hard because again, Starscream. I love Starscream, but
Yeah.
if I were to have to say the one I have the figures of the most, it's Grimlock. Grimlock is because he's a dinosaur.
I
He's a
thought
T-Rex.
Grimlock was awesome.
Mhm,
He was
Grimlock is
a
dope.
highlight for me.
I'm so lost. I don't know.
He's the
Grim's-
dinosaur one.
He's the
but even
T-Rex
still.
that goes,
There's
me
like a couple
Grimlock,
of-
no
Uh,
are there?
dummy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's the me Grimlock
Yeah,
king.
I think I know.
Mhm.
Yeah, Grimlock is king.
He's a giant
Doesn't he
T-Rex.
bonk someone over the head with his little
Yep.
T-Rex
Yeah.
arm?
Yep.
Yeah, so I would say they would have to be my favorite. Optimus Prime is always like everyone's pick.
Did you cry when Optimus Prime died?
I was shocked when everyone was dying, to be honest. Because again, I'm like, hold on, like everyone's getting murked right now. Like, oh, I know that character and he's dead. Okay,
Yeah.
I know that character and they're dead. Okay, Optimus died. Okay, and he's staying dead. Because in like the live action movies, they killed Optimus and he came back in the same movie.
Yeah.
So I was kind of expecting that, but it was like, oh no, he actually stayed dead. I'm looking through.
Do you think this movie is more bold
than the other movies?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because what they expanded on is more than I feel like the movies actually did. Like everything was just kind of basic in the movies.
Now, humans get involved with this,
but not as involved in the live action movies. Because the live action movies are centered around the humans.
Yes.
But you can tell with this movie, the Autobots and the Decepticons are actually...
It's more focused on their conflict, whereas I feel like in the Michael Bay films, that conflict is happening in the background, but it's seen through the eyes of humans.
It's a military movie with giant robots that transform.
Yeah.
Unicron looks like the Death
Star?
Death Star, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of references in this. What is it? What is the Matrix?
Yeah.
Is Tony Stark's heart. Also, another movie called The Matrix. I wonder if they got that from this. I was Googling it, but I couldn't find it. And I wonder if Tony Stark was influenced by
his arc reactor. Yeah.
Guys.
And I was also thinking of The Last Jedi a couple times.
Which time? Wait, which
every
one?
Time Unicron was like, "No, he is not dead," and "No, he is."
You bet.
No, every word of that sentence was wrong. Every time, I'm literally wondering if Ryan Johnson was like a fan of this.
He's a secret fan of
like
Transformers.
5 or 6 movies came into mind while I was watching this.
Well, I really like all like that it has in this. What's up,
guys? Unicron, the toy is 19 pounds.
Wow.
That is insane.
It's a baby.
Over 2 feet high. Like, geez.
Joe, you should have put this on your registry.
No, we put an ironing board on our registry and no one got it. So it. I don't think anyone would get a.
I think Nancy would be upset if the essential stuff didn't make it and
it got a Unicron
was the only thing that showed up to your door.
I mean, she was kind of like, "Oh, that's nice." When Derek gave me the arc reactor, he's like, "This is your guys' wedding gift," and it's like,
I gave you the most impractical wedding gift.
Yeah,
but it's probably one of the best. Let's be real. It's probably one of the best gifts you got.
I have a heart, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
You have the Matrix.
I do want to get an actual Matrix.
You've got the touch.
Yeah. Oh, you got the touch.
Also, the soundtrack was a highlight.
Yeah.
I don't know how 80s it really was.
Yeah.
It's so 80s. We'll get right back to the conversation in just a moment. We recorded this episode while we were on our retreat. One of the interesting conversations we had during the retreat was about this idea of totems. A totem is a physical object that somebody would put in their house as a symbol or a reminder of something that it represented that was meaningful to them. So ancient cultures had these carvings of different gods and goddesses that they believed were going to bring them fortune or good luck or things like that. In the church, you had icons and other objects that developed over the centuries that people would put in their homes as reminders of God and the saints. And then with the invention of the printing press, stories were bound in books and made affordable to people. So whereas before you had scrolls and codexes, and those were really, really expensive and only the highly rich could afford them, books became, in a way, totems of stories that people could have on their shelves and collect. And then in the 20th century, you had this with the rise of physical media and even toys like Transformers. And so when you think about your house, your room, your office, whatever it might be, what sort of objects do you have in there? Do you have books or representations of stories, maybe figures, toys, maybe a cross or a crucifix, something that is a signpost towards something? And so that's a conversation that we had a lot in the retreat because we would go out to these different stores, toy stores, DVD stores, bookstores, and we would just try to find objects that we feel like represented what we needed in our life right now, what represented the stories that we need in life and the stories that we want to find ourselves moving into. In an increasing digital age that we find ourselves in, it's important to have physical, tangible reminders of the stories that we love. And so that's why we like going out and finding excuses to buy these things, because, I mean, we get a lot of fun out of it. But there is something meaningful and fundamentally deeply human about doing this as well. And if you're enjoying these conversations that we have on the podcast about stories and the meanings that we derive from them, then check out allthingsnarrative.com. And we have many resources for you, including workshops that we do, classes, coaching, more episodes of this podcast. You can even book a discovery call where we could talk a little bit about your story. I specialize in helping people to unpack their story, to get it out through speaking and writing. And so if you have a story that you've been waiting to tell, that you've been waiting to get out there in some way, and you enjoy learning about the art of storytelling and want to, through that art, better help people to connect and understand you and what you've been through and where you want to go in life, then go to allthingsnarrative.com. You can check that out. You can even sign up for our mailing list where you'll get a bonus episode of 5 tips to improve your storytelling. So whatever goals you have for storytelling, we are here for you at All Things Narrative. And now let's go ahead and get back to this conversation about Transformers. Okay, Joe, so here's the $1 million question I have for you.
Okay, shoot it.
Okay, so as I'm watching this movie, I'm trying to find some deeper meaning. I'm trying really hard, right?
You want me to try to connect a deeper meaning? I can connect a deeper meaning. I can connect it.
So this is the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, yes. And you really love Transformers.
Yes.
And of the millions of movies you could have chosen tonight, you chose this. So I would love to know, what is it?
Okay.
What is it about this movie
there's multiple
that
reasons.
Inspires you to live a meaningful story, and about Transformers as a whole?
There's multiple reasons.
Okay.
One, I needed to get Nick to watch a Transformers movie.
Your life is more meaningful
like
by having Nick watch
Transformers.
I was in for like 10 minutes, and then I needed a break, and that break never came. But I was like, whoa, this is good. Why weren't the movies like this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the movies were like this.
It's high action. But he still enjoyed this one. That's all that matters.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
I just needed subtitles, that's all.
Yeah, and then we got him on. He was good. But I would say the deeper meaning of this is literally, it's a conflict, like how Nick was saying it with Magneto and like Charles.
How does it connect to you?
How does it connect to me?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
How do you connect to this?
I guess there's a sense of just like, even against like high odds, like they're literally fighting a planet against high odds. It doesn't matter because they're still going to try to fight the good fight till all are one, and we're all together in this situation. They're literally going out to fight a planet, and it doesn't matter with dinosaurs and stuff like that.
None of this makes sense.
None of it.
I have a bow and arrow.
It's like Age of Ultron. Well, we're just we're together and we're going against a bigger threat. You know.
So let's lean into that for a second, if you don't mind, because I think there's something there. Yeah. So we talked about how there's this division in the classes that were created. And you have people that are trying to create, but they're creating these classes. It's going to create this tension. And so it looks like that this can't be overcome. Like this is too big of a problem. So there seems to be this line that was repeated throughout the movie, which is
till all are one.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, is it possible in Transformers lore? Like, are the Autobots hoping that the Decepticons and the other factions of Transformers are going to come together as one? Because you see moments of that where these other robots are coming together. They have the greeting, right? The universal greeting.
Wheat mini bond.
Exactly. And that... Exactly, and that's how they're supposed to, have some sense of that, right?
You're right. Optimus Prime and Megatron are fighting for the same thing. They both saw the corruption in the system, but Optimus is like, we need to do this in a peaceful route.
Yeah,
and Megatron is like, no, they're not going to listen to words. They're going to listen to action. So I'm going to show them action, and that's literally what the conflict is. They were brothers. They were two brothers, and they separated because of their ideas of how they should go through peace.
So to bring it back to you then.
Bring it to me.
How does that speak to you personally in your life and in your relationship with other people and the world as a whole?
I guess I can understand Optimus in a sense. Is just like seeing how the world is and knowing that there is a peaceful way to do things. I'm always trying. I guess I realize I'm more of a peacemaker. I'm always trying to search for peace. But in these hard times, even if I'm trying to search for peace, there's still a war that is going on. Like even in this peace or seeking peace, we're still in a spiritual battle every single day. Even in this peace, we're battling against friends in a sense of just like, if there's something that comes up, we have a conversation about it. There's still a battling of ideas with that. There's battling every single time, but there's still a peace at the end of it that's supposed to come. But with the other side, it's like it's a no, we don't want to hear that. We're going to go against it, and we're going to continue to war and war and war. So I guess it's that. Just trying to bring peace, man. Peacetime.
Yeah. And do you feel like in your life, you're that agent of peace?
I try to be. I've realized at work, my classroom was the one that was visited the most for people to talk to.
Yeah.
But at first it was kind of like, oh man, I'm trying to work. But then I started kind of realizing what that really means, that in a sense of my classroom and my spot is a safe place because I try to aspire to have that peace.
That's cool.
Yeah, so.
We could say then that through your peace that you bring to people, you actually are a transformer.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'll transform into? A moose. because robots can transform into the animals too. Beast Wars. Yep, Beast Wars.
Oh my
Optimus Prime was a gorilla in that one.
That's cool.
Yep.
Optimus Primal.
Yep, Optimus Primal.
All right, I'm glad we got something deep in this episode.
Yeah, that was pretty deep.
Yeah.
That was surprisingly, we found something.
Yeah, look
God knows what he's doing. Well, that was cool.
Well, this is like one of your biggest
loves.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's something there that Joe sees, and I want to know what it is.
I would honestly put this over like Dragon Ball and Marvel. I
wow,
love Transformers.
That's big.
I'm telling you, I was collecting Transformers since 2007. I lost them over the years and customized some.
How does Transformers differ from Marvel? Because it's still a communal fight against evil.
I guess it's just
I can
robots.
see Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball, to me, I haven't watched it. It's just fighting in every direction.
Yeah.
So let's skip that one.
Yeah.
So the robots aspect?
It's the robot aspect, and I think it's more personable. My favorite Transformers anything is Transformers Prime, and I actually really want you guys to watch it. That was kind of one of the things I wanted to do, but it's like a show. But when you get personable with the Transformers, it is really, really good. Nancy loves Transformers Prime.
Really?
She was like into the characters. So it's like when you do Transformers right, you can make, it's like with the apes. You can make, use the Transformers as humans.
Yeah.
Don't put humans in Transformers movies. The Transformers are the humans.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can make such a deeper thing with them and use their lore. Their lore is amazing. I can sit here all night talking about all the stuff, combiners, all that stuff, Insecticons.
So Transformers is your myth. The myth that you kind of reach for and live into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Cool.
You're talking about these two different ideologies about a problem and how it becomes something even bigger than themselves. And that's one thing that I'm seeing is that there's this matrix of leadership that is almost like the light that guides the Autobots in this. And that is passed down.
Yeah.
And it's a leadership that's passed down and they look for guidance, but it's also the idea and the fight and the values are passed down from Optimus to Ultra Magnus and then to Hot Rod. And with the Decepticons, there's no passing down.
No.
It's I have the spark of leadership. I obtain, it's mine.
Yeah.
They're fighting to usurp power from each other. There's no unity. They're tossing damaged comrades out the spaceship like they're dead weight, and that would never happen with the Autobots.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see how when you measure these two ideologies against each other, the Autobots are the ones that are saying till all are one, and the Decepticons are saying I'm the one.
Yeah.
And what my question is for you, Joe,
That's
is
good,
that
Jason.
how do you anticipate passing down your spark of your matrix of leadership? Like, what do you anticipate with that?
I guess that's me, like, being a teacher, passing that stuff down, passing down the information that I had. I mean, that I have. The collective wisdom that I have grown throughout the year. That's good, Jason. No, I guess it really is just how I'm mentoring the kids and teaching the kids. I think that's what I'm doing as the passing down. And then when I have my own kids, passing down the things that I've learned to them. But I think that's another connection too. Yeah, that God has put in me to just teach and to lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
definitely see that in you. And also, I just like Transformers because that's one thing that we can connect over.
Yep.
Because I started watching Transformers Armada as a kid, and my friend had a bunch of Transformers toys that we remember. Tidal Wave, the giant.
It's a giant
aircraft carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just bigger than everyone. He just steps on everyone.
It's like Devastator in this one, the one that combined into the sixth one that turned into the big robot.
They don't get it.
I know. I had a lot of Transformers.
Nope.
So I got one final question for you then.
Shoot.
And you got to be honest with me on this, okay?
Okay.
Shoot it straight.
I'm lying.
Was one of your conditions for Nancy marrying you that she had to
Watch Transformers?
in some way accept Transformers?
Well, she had
Maybe
to,
she didn't have to love it, but she had to at least.
she had to accept everything about me, and that kind of
Yeah. If she married you, that means she likes Transformers.
Yeah.
Man,
Transformer collection.
I got her to like Transformers through Transformers Prime. I'll tell you guys a little bit more after the fact because it's funny, but
Bet.
yeah, but
You
it's
can run a little story right here on the podcast for the world.
and that's it, folks.
Just kidding, Nancy. I'm just kidding.
and that's all, folks.
Also,
That's awesome.
I have 187 Transformers.
Oh my god.
I used to have a lot more.
Oh.
187. How much? Okay. How much do you think they're all worth?
Oh, I've seen some that I bought like back in 2010 that are worth like that I bought for $16 or probably like $40 now. Like in like mid box, but mint condition box. But a lot of them are like worth $100. It just depends on how long you've.
So are we talking about like $10,000 in that room? 20,000, 20K?
$100 of Transformers.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of close.
If he wanted to go the route of some scalpers, like
Nancy.
So I think I know exactly what she's thinking. I think I figured
emergency baby fund.
Nancy, no,
that would make me cry.
Nancy's just letting you build up your room, your collection, your Transformers.
There's going to be an accidental fire.
Nope. That's the down payment for your house.
Oh,
I'd cry.
Nancy is playing chess.
I wouldn't move
you're
in.
checkers.
The down payment of your house with here you can have your room. Sorry, you got nothing left to put in.
You know what's funny though? She asked me, we were doing a house insurance stuff. She was like, I just want to know, like, how much do you think your collection is worth? Like,
yeah.
See? She's plotting.
She's plotting.
Baby,
There
you plotting. We caught you.
All right. I got nothing else on Trans.
Oh,
I'm
man.
done. Hey, you guys got any final thoughts?
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Autobots, transform and roll out.
Thank you for listening to the Live a Meaningful Story podcast, produced by All Things Narrative. If you'd like to learn more about our coaching, workshops, events, please check out allthingsnarrative.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at All Things Narrative. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and tune in next time as we continue exploring the stories we love and the stories we live. Take care.